Yo, yo, what is up, spiritual hooligan? It's your pal, Matthew Ferry, and we are back for week number 7 of Ho Hum to Hallelujah, 8 steps to manifest your biggest dreams. And crazy cool stuff is happening everywhere. You know, people have been thinking about creating these amazing results, you know, like as long as mankind, womankind has existed on the planet. Here's a quote from William Shakespeare. He says, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Jesse, for muting Mark. We could hear him in the background there. So doubt, my friends, is what does the most damage. Doubt. And you have to practice not giving it mental space, which means in my world, you practice quieting your mind, using the rapid enlightenment process and deactivating the underlying triggers for the fear and the mentation, the unwanted chatty mind. That all happens in the rapid enlightenment process. If you haven't reviewed my book, Quiet Mind, Epic Life, lately,
Matthew, you just muted yourself.
I'm not sure how I muted myself, but there you go.
That was Kristen doing the mass mute, but I don't seem to have the proper permissions.
Well, I
could not unmute you. Could you make me a co-host?
I'm just going to make you like the full host. How about that? Is that cool with you?
Actually, I am a co-host. Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah.
I was trying. Here's what's happening, everybody. I don't have mute capabilities until people are fully on, but when they're fully on, we can still hear their background. So they can't mute themselves until they're fully in, and I can't mute them. So if somebody comes in with sound in the background, we get the pleasure of listening to it all. So I was trying to use the fancy mute everybody feature and got Matthew too. So I apologize.
Woohoo. All right. Well, let's talk about manifesting instead of muting. Muting versus manifesting. Yeah. So it's so critical that we start with step 1. And step 1 is to set your intention. And I suspect you have probably noticed that setting intentions forces you to question your life, which I happen to love. Ever since you've been in Ho Hum to Hallelujah, you've been asking all kinds of questions like, what do I want? What results do I want? What experiences do I want? And what things do I want? And who do I want in my life? And what kind of people do I want in my life? And these questions are really, really powerful, but they're really hard to answer authentically. Like you may think you can answer them authentically, but once the results start to manifest, it becomes clear that you don't really know what you want, right? It's like you find yourself thinking like, like I manifested this thing. I'm not sure this is really what I was looking for. And it's hard to know what you really want because your conditioning and your propensity get in the way. All of us come in a certain way. And so we have like certain propensities, and then we get domesticated. We get domesticated like a dog. We know we're told what to do and what to wear and how to operate and all of that. And so, you know, figuring out what you really, really want is a process of deprogramming. And I will tell you that Kristen and I have really been going through it for about 10 years. We've just been peeling back the conditioning and the BS and the culture and all of that stuff and just finally getting to a place of clarity. But most of us never really give ourselves permission to explore with freedom our authenticity. Like, what would give me the most pleasure? What makes me happy? What is my self-expression? What would make me feel like myself? And I got to tell you, so many of my students, when they start, they're like, WTF, Matthew, I already know. I just need to manifest some more cash, then everything's going to be better. And all I got to say to that is bullshit. Mo money, mo problems. Notorious B.I.G. Biggie, he had it right. You get a ton of cash. The problem is your shitty self is still there. So you want to start to think in terms of like, what is it that I really, really want? Because it turns out the money won't get you there. The money won't get it. Why do you want the money? That's what you're really going for. I mean, if there was no restriction, if you could live however you wanted to live, well, what would you do? Where would you go? So many of us, for sure me, like we get married because that's what you're supposed to do. And then you're married and you're sacrificing for the family rather than living your dream. And then you're putting on the show like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. And I'm really happy and all that. But, you know, so many people have jobs and they have the Mac Daddy house and they drive the pimp car and they got the shiny rims on their car and they got the trophy wife or kids and they've got the trophy man and they got 2 kids and they're, you know, they're doing great in school. But, you know, when you really dive in, they secretly wish their life was different. They're like, well, someday when all these things happen, then I'll do the thing that I really want. I know that's how I was living. And it's so easy to do what is expected versus what is wanted. It's actually alluring to do what everyone else says you should do. But what about you? You know, are you truly authentically doing what you really want with your time and with your life? If you're really, really being honest with yourself, or are you waiting until you have these other things in place? Like, well, once that happens, then I'll do it. And once this happens, then I'll do it. And once these things, these conditions are right, then I'll do it, right? You're waiting for your parents to die, your kids to grow up. You're waiting for your spouse to get their shit together. I mean, so many people just tell me, it's like, I need the money so I can do the thing that I really want to do. And it turns out that that's bullshit. Because the things that you really want to do represent an experience, and you can start having that experience now. And when you start to have that experience now, new creativity, new options, new things open up in your mind. And next thing you know, you're manifesting what you thought you had to have the money for. So I want you to just take some notes for me. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here. What would you do if you had all the money that you needed and more? What would you do? Write it down, please. What experience or feeling or being state does that create for you? This, what you were just writing down. Like what is the feeling or experience or being state that creates? Put some of those into the chat. I just want to hear what some of the feeling or experience or being states. For me, it's joy. Juan put in joy. Joy and peace for Leanne. Travel and live in peace, love, and happiness for Sherry. Yep. Like you have all the money that you would ever need and then some. What would you do? How would you spend your time? And then the question is, when you look at that, like, what does that really mean? Like, what are you experiencing there? Right? I would sail around the world and I would give 20K a month. And I would feel childlike and free. That's really what we're talking about. Childlike and free, satisfied for Bill. I'd work from the Bahamas and I'd fly fly friends in once in a while for Craig. And then the question, Craig, is like, what would you be experiencing? Like, what's the experience of that? And what's the feeling state of that? Because that's what you actually want. The specifics of the circumstances are fleeting, right? Being in the Bahamas and flying friends in every once in a while might have a life cycle, but the experience that you want, you can actually generate it over and over and over and over and over. Travel with kids and connect and be expansive, proud, and free. So I think expansive, proud, and free, those are the real things that you want. So skip the accumulation of money and start living the dream now. And then it's like, well, wait a second. You know what? Skip living the dream now and start creating the feeling that you think the dream will give you. Rebel against your programming. Start to question everything. Do you really need all the stuff to be happy? Do you really have to keep up with the appearances to be happy? Like for what? Like to what end? Where are you going? What will you do when you get there? Are you going to wait until you retire to explore who you really are and what you really want in your life? Why is making money so important to you? Why does money make you happy? Do all the things that you have really make you happy? I don't think so. But I'm going to tell you a little trick. Write this down for me, please. The happier I am, the more I manifest. The happier I am, the more I manifest. That little equation makes such a huge difference. If you'll focus on the being state first, then all the actions to manifest the things you want are much more effortless. Because when you're happy, you don't need anything. And when you don't need anything, it's so easy to get aligned. And one of the most powerful things you can do is to go through the exercise of giving everything up, like go all the way, give it all up. Like what if you gave everything away? There's nothing in the future that is going to make your life any better than it is today. Everything you desire is available right now. It's just learning. You have to learn how to enroll yourself and how to engage the moment and how to contextualize effectively so you can feel what you want. Let me ask you this question. Write down this answer for yourself. What if you could sell all your stuff? Sell your house, sell your car, give up your job, totally and completely reinvent yourself. Like, what if you had that available to you? What would you do? Who would you be? How would you spend your time? Make some notes. You could literally burn down everything in this whole life that you have now and start over completely brand new. No obligations, no strings attached, no guilt, no obligation, no nothing. You're totally free to invent yourself brand new based on what you know now. So this week, start to question everything that you're doing. You know, do I do this because I love it, or do I do this because I think it'll make me look good? Do I do this because I love it, or do I do this because I'm convinced that this is what successful people do? Does this give me joy and bliss and peace? Am I deriving pleasure? Write down the answer to this question. What would fill you with joy, laughter, and positive expectation every day if you were doing it? Please set the intention for that to become my life. Stop setting intentions that are designed to prove to the world that you're good enough, that you're smart enough, that you're likable, that you fit in. And start setting intentions to live the life that you are madly in love with. So to bring us back up to speed, step one, got to ask for what you want. That's hard to do because it's hard to admit what you really want because you're a part of a network of people, and the network of people that you're involved in are modifying what you think you can get, and they're putting certain limitations on you that you don't even know are there. Step two is to keep doing what you're doing and to give the gift. Step three, don't get stuck in the how-to. Step four, tell everyone what you're creating. Step five is to connect deeply with everyone and step over no one. Step six is to play the perfect game. That's what we talked about last week. Whatever's offered, you take it. Whatever's suggested, you do it. Whatever happens, you declare it perfect. Saying no is actually protection. It's safety. It's comfort. Saying no keeps you small, keeps you safe from that big, scary world that might swallow you up. That's what the drunk monkey says. So stop listening to the drunk monkey and start listening to your heart and start getting into that yes miracle flow. And that brings us to step 7 in the 8-step mega manifesting process. Will you write down for me, please? Learn to ride the waves. Learn to ride the waves. So waves, what are these waves that we're supposed to ride? Well, the waves are the waves of energy that you get from the inspiration, and the wave is the energy and the activity that comes from these inspiration. For example, you set an intention and suddenly you find yourself in conversation with someone at the grocery store and you're following step 5. So you connect deeply. You don't step over people. You just connect deeply with people. And now all of a sudden the conversation is like leading to more. You're in the parking lot and you're connecting with this person. You're giving them the gift. You're finding out what's important to them. And next thing you know, they're like, well, God, you're such a pleasure. Like they just want to reciprocate. What are you up to? And next thing you know, you're telling them what you're manifesting. And all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I know the exact person to help you with that. This is so weird that we're talking right here, like in the parking lot list. I'm so excited to call my friend and tell them about what you're doing. I can't wait to get the two of you together to talk immediately. All of a sudden, you have this wave of energy that explodes inside of you. You're like, yes, this is so cool. You're in your car, you're driving back home, and you're like, I can't wait to share this with the whole hum group. You know, the future that you can see for yourself suddenly begins to shift in that moment. You can't wipe the smile off your face. You're daydreaming, you're fantasizing, you're literally feeling total satisfaction and extreme certainty in the moment. This is a wave. You keep reflecting on that miracle of the conversation. You keep reminding yourself of how lucky you are and that it's really happening. You allow yourself to get pumped up and exhilarated. That is the wave. Your job is to ride it as long as it goes. As long as it goes. Listen to this. This is so important. Your job is to ride it as long as it lasts. Not all the way. Not until it concludes. You ride that energy until the energy is gone. You ride it until it loses the energy for you. So back to the grocery store, you're in the parking lot. Now you may end up talking to that person that was referred and it goes nowhere. Or you may never talk to them. It doesn't matter. That was just a wave. I've been manifesting a videographer to come and to start doing more videos with me here at the house and at our new office. And I was in the camera store the other day and the guy's like, oh my God, I have someone for you. This is so great. He introduced me to the guy. We exchanged numbers. I texted the guy, nothing. I was on the way home like, Kristen, you're not going to believe this. I'm riding the wave. I'm so excited. Here's a guy. We're going to have nothing. What you want is coming. Will you write that down for me? What I want is coming, and then add in waves. What I want is coming in waves. Like what you want doesn't come all at once. First, you get a little. Then you get a little bit more. Then you get a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And then it's like starts bubbling up, right? Then it's like the trickle, like it turns into a flow. And then all of a sudden it turns into a current. And then next thing you know, it's just like the tsunami of manifestation hits you. And that might take a week. Could take a month. Could take a couple years. Could take a couple decades. It might even take your whole lifetime. Manifesting the rapid enlightenment process and bringing it into the world, giving it birth, I'm pretty clear now it's like a lifetime deal. And if you had asked me earlier, I'd have been like, oh, we'd already be, like we'd already be there right now. Guess what? We ain't there yet. So it really depends on how far off the conditions are in your life. And your expectations, they can either be your best friend and compel you forward, or they could be your worst nightmare. And the next thing you know, you're like, I'm a loser and this sucks and I don't like this, and it shuts you down. And it's like the drunk monkey just jams you up, right? And we all bow down to the Lord of the universe. Drunk monkey in your head thinks it knows everything, how it's all supposed to work. But, you just need to get in the habit of saying, shut up, drunk monkey. I'm riding the waves. The world is mysterious. I'm riding the waves, drunk monkey. Creation is bewildering. I'm just riding these waves and they're coming and they're going. There's times when there's no waves. Just let go. Get into the flow. In other words, your manifestations will take as long as they take. And they aren't a failure until you quit. And you don't have to quit. And here's the crazy thing. Sometimes when you quit, they happen just like that. You don't know, I don't know, nobody knows. It's a vision. It's a creation. There's this force that's coming through you. You are the creation. It's a dream. It's not a reality. But the secret to becoming aligned with your goals and dreams is you just ride those waves. You like, sometimes they're amazing and sometimes they're just little. And when you're riding the waves, you learn, right? You learn from every experience. You're going to lose, period, full stop. You're going to lose. And there's no possible way that you're going to produce miraculous results without failures and wipeouts and screw ups and all of that. So like when you're riding the waves, you just got to like own it. And I want you to know that our fragile drunk monkey, it doesn't like learning, right? It's like, boo-hoo, I wanted all to work right now and it didn't. And therefore I quit and I'm a loser. But, riding waves just means that you're committed to getting more and more and more and more skilled with every wave. It means that there's going to be little versions of what you want, followed by bigger versions of what you want, followed by days and weeks and even months of no waves, no energy, no nothing. Let me say that again. You're going to set your intention. You're going to continue to do what you're doing. You're going to be giving the gift. You're going to tell people what you're committed to. Don't worry about the how-to. You're going to connect deeply with people, step over no one. And you're going to play the perfect game. You're going to be saying yes to things. And even then, like there's just going to be times when nothing is happening. Or there'll be times these little blips of energy come up and you're going to ride them all. And there's going to be times when nothing's happening. And I just want you to know, just rest assured, the waves will come again if you just stay in the 8-step manifesting process. You just stay in the process. And then you ride the waves, because riding the waves is really about feeling that energy as it comes with the new ideas, the new thoughts, the new actions, the new possibilities. And you're just seeing where they're going. You're just realizing that all there is just now. And the waves are just what life is. It's wavy and wiggly and unpredictable and crazy. The waves are what life is. The waves are all that life is. There's no real end game. You're not getting anywhere. You're just kind of like riding these different waves over and over, and some are small and some are little, and sometimes you just got to rest. But write this down for me. Riding the waves really means milking the moment for the energy. Riding the waves really means milking the moment for the energy, for that enthusiasm, for that excitement, that right here, right now, ooh, something good is happening. Only the drunk monkey spends his time speculating about futures and regretting the past, right? But you can ignore that and get into the present moment and ride these waves of energy. And you need to remember that the future and the past, all that does is bring negative energy and negative feelings to you. And that's just an indicator that you're going in the wrong direction, that you are focused on something, degrading and problematic. Your manifestations will often look different than what you think. And your manifestations will often look like they aren't going to happen, right? So you're just like, what's going on? Why is this stopped? Why am I not getting what I want? And when we're in that place where like the waves have stopped and there's no energy and nothing's happening, like that's when people start beating themselves up. That's when start, I'm a loser. What's wrong? Or they start freaking out. Or right, it's like think about a surfer. The surfer doesn't, when the waves have stopped and there's no energy, they don't freak out and paddle out to the ocean looking for the waves. They just wait. They don't beat themselves up. They don't get upset. You don't start thinking like, oh my God, I'm stuck here and I'm never going to get what I want. And I don't even know why I even try. But that's what the drunk monkey says when the waves stop and when there's no action. But the bottom line is this. Will you write down for me, please? I get attached to figments of my imagination. I get attached to figments of my imagination. I think it's supposed to look like this. So when the energy starts to come, I'm like, oh my God, here it comes. This is so exciting. Oh my God, it's all going to happen. And then like falls apart and dies. And they're like, oh, I'm such a loser. And then you look and there's no waves and nothing's happening. Now you're beating yourself up and you're moaning. You're attached to some vision of how it's all supposed to be. Fuck how. You don't know how. It's coming. You get attached to a phantom result that was nothing more than a figment of your imagination. And then you declare it a failure when it doesn't happen. That's not riding the waves. The drunk monkey is definitely not your manifestation coach. I would not listen to it. You don't ride the waves. You throw temper tantrums. You get depressed. You get down on yourself. And those things, when those things happen, everything stops. When things don't work out the way you want, you make yourself wrong. That's the drunk monkey. You make other people wrong. That's the drunk monkey. You go into fearful actions. That's the drunk monkey. You want to start to work on going into a state of peace and accepting and appreciate the situation exactly as it is. When things don't work out, the drunk monkey will try and get you to force it to happen. But I want you to fire the drunk monkey as your manifestation coach. And I want you to instead, everybody write this down, surrender to the moment. Surrender to the moment. Surrender to the learning, to the growth, to the ups and downs, to the creative process. Recognize that the manifestations you want, they come in these waves. First, there's a big surge of energy and then it subsides. And rather than making it wrong as it subsides, you just like chill. Just like the surfer would between sets. You know, wave number one is come and gone, but you know what? Surfers don't catch every wave, not even close. And they don't throw temper tantrums when they don't catch waves. They know another wave is coming. Each wave of energy, each new thing teaches you something. It clarifies something. It helps you to understand what's missing, what you don't know. You know, the manifesting process is really practical. It's not really very mystical, actually. Even though it's very mystical to think I am creation creating, like that's very mystical. The creative process itself is not very mystical. Like new visions are coming through you. You get on the path to making them happen. You attempt, you fail, you learn. Write this down. A setback is a setup for a comeback. A setback is a setup for a comeback. You just got to ride those waves. You just keep going. Like the next wave is going to come. It's going to learn how to ride this thing. All you do is ride the waves. You don't get attached to anything. You just keep doing what you're doing. Enjoy every part of the journey. So when you set a new intention, the waves start to come. And the key is to be alert. And when a wave comes, you ride it. Kristen and I got a phone call when we were in the Dominican Republic from Jamil, who said, hey, I'm thinking that I want to collaborate with you. Now, the crazy thing was the night before, our other buddy, Cuthberto's like, you guys should like get together with Jamil and do some stuff. We're like, oh, wow, that's interesting. We should do that. Next day, Jamil sends a text. Hey, we should do some stuff. We're like, whoa. Then all of a sudden the wave of energy, like, what could that be? And where could we go? And what could we do? It's just like, whoa, the energy, the energy, the energy. And then we get home and then it's like, oh, well, look, it's going to take a month before we get connected. Okay, well, blah, 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 blah. The energy goes away. When the wave comes, you ride it. You enjoy it. You milk it for all that that energy provides you. You love that wave and you learn from that wave. You ask any surfer and they're going to tell you that there are days that they try to catch wave after wave after wave after wave and there's no luck. And they don't have a meltdown about it. They know that the ocean is bewildering and bewitching and that waves are mostly unpredictable and they're never the same. So too is the creative process. Manifesting your dreams doesn't happen all at once. You probably have some things to learn, maybe some things to grow into. You might have to shift your expectations a little bit. Probably going to have to let go of some stuff before it can fully manifest. The question is, why do you want what you want? And the answer is because you want the experience. So when you go after these incredible, juicy goals and dreams, when the waves of energy come, that's the experience. The journey is the experience. Milk every wave of energy for the experience. Love it. Enjoy it. Get excited about it. Even the small waves give you a cool experience. Plus, the small waves kind of build your expectation. You know what I mean? Like build your courage. The little small waves tell you what the big waves are going to be like. They also tell you like, oh, okay. Like when something happens, like let's just take Roya was talking at the beginning of our journey together. She's like, I've been wanting to go to Italy. I've been thinking about it for years. And finally, I called this person and they're like, well, you should come work for me here in Italy. And then she's like, oh my God. She's like, bah, 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 bah. She's riding the wave. This is so exciting, right? But then as it progresses, the thing, I don't know where she's at, but you know, it might like slowly fall apart. You don't freak out. You go like, oh, wow, like it's really possible. That wave of energy told me it's really possible. Any wave of energy in the direction of your manifestation indicates that what you want is coming. A small wave of energy verifies that you've been heard by the universe. I'm aligned. I'm in it. A small wave shows you that you have the power to manifest. So you get excited about every conversation that you're in, even when it leads nowhere. So let's look at it from a totally different standpoint. Will you write down for me, please, the power of wipeouts? The power of wipeouts. Kristen and I are professional wipeout artists. We will get on waves that are way too big for us. We don't have the skills. We don't have the disciplines. We don't know what to do. We don't have the system. We don't have the right, whatever it is. We just get on there. We're like, yeah, let's ride it. Just, you don't know how to accomplish your big, juicy dreams. You're going to have to learn a lot of new things. You're going to have to meet a lot of new people. You're going to have to deal with a lot of uncertainty and unfamiliar situations. The ocean of life never serves up the same waves. And so what does that translate into? Wipeouts. Failures, mistakes, screw-ups, misfires, bankruptcy, bomb, botch, breakdown, bungle, bust, collapse, decay, decline, defeat, deceit, false step, fiasco, flop, implosion, wipeouts. If you don't know how to ride the waves that you're manifesting, you got to learn. If you're manifesting new goals and new dreams, you're going to have to learn like what all that stuff means. Learning is failing over and over and over until you can do it. Will you just write down for me, break down is the beginning of breakthrough. Breakdown is the beginning of breakthrough. Consider this. All your failures are just the beginning of your manifestation. That's it. All the misfires, the missteps, the blow-ups, the going nowhere, the dead ends, that's just the beginning of your manifestation. That's all it is. Your breakdowns and your disasters, the chaos that you go into, these are all just natural expressions of the manifesting process. Breakdowns, disasters, chaos, missteps, screw-ups, going nowhere, dead ends. These are just a natural expression of the manifesting process, because the manifesting process is a creative process. It's an investigative process. You're investigating, you're trying to understand how to bring about these results, and you don't know. Because if you did know, you would already have the results. So breakdowns, wipeouts, screw-ups, letdowns, failures, they're all a natural expression of the manifesting process. It's no different than going to the gym and building muscle, right? It's like in order to build that muscle, you actually have to tear it apart. You rip it apart through the process, and then it comes back together and you get stronger. Destruction is the beginning of creation. They go hand in hand. Destruction and creation go hand in hand. So when shit is going wrong, you want to get excited. You want to ride that energy. Now, the drunk monkey does not like this idea at all, right? The drunk monkey is lazy. The drunk monkey is looking for the no destruction, no work necessary magic pill. And I hate to tell you this, but that don't exist. When the waves start coming, when those new, different, unusual, unknown requests, instructions, meetings, all this stuff starts coming out of the blue, when you start getting overwhelmed with all this new, this, that, right? New requests, new information, new people, new conversations, new ideas, new details. When all the waves of energy start coming, the drunk monkey wants to shut down. The drunk monkey's like, no way, steer this back to the beach. We're going to go sit where it's safe. We'll let the waves come and then we'll go back out. The drunk monkey wants to conserve energy. It wants to steer you away from the wipeout, from the stress and the anxiety. But new, right? New, it creates stress. It creates anxiety. And as you ride those crazy waves that come out of left field, you know you're on track when you're like, you're freaking out. We saw this new shit. You're just like trying to ride it. But the drunk monkey is like, we don't want to play the perfect game anymore because I don't have time for this. There's too much going on. I can't be bothered. I don't like all these inputs. You have to learn how to quiet the drunk monkey down. That's why I started the conversation with saying, like, you got to get back to your quiet mind, epic life practices to reduce the mind chatter so you can be in the flow when it is high anxiety, high stress, high pressure, high intensity. Because when you go after these big goals and dreams and everything starts to change, it's intense. So this is why you got to say yes to new, different, and unusual. You got to create those waves. You got to get out of your comfort zone. But I'd like to propose that a lot of times we are the drunk monkey's puppet. You know what I mean? Like the drunk monkey's like, no, I don't want to do that. If the drunk monkey had its way, we'd spend all of our time watching other people ride waves from the beach and then secretly be beating ourselves up for not being out there. Sounds familiar, right? So I want you to remember, you learn from every wave. And the next thing you know, wave after wave after wave, you're riding like a pro. So just chill, bro. I don't know why I got rhyming all of a sudden, but I did. So each wave clarifies. Every person who says yes, or I have something for you, or here's a possibility, it clarifies. And once you've clarified your dream and the specific results that you want to produce, the projects and the opportunities, they just start to fall in your lap. Each project, each new opportunity, it brings with it a whole new set of waves. It's like new challenges, new setbacks, new opportunities, new things to learn, new territory, new understanding. Those are all waves. I mean, how do you learn something new? You wipe out, you screw it up, you fail. Mistakes, those are learning. Breakdowns, that's learning. Failure, that's learning. These new projects and new opportunities aren't going to be like the answer. They're going to be the process. They're going to be these waves of energy that you go through that will start to fall apart and unravel and lose steam. It's like the natural progression. Like you suck at a lot of these things, right? So it's like, here comes this thing. Hey, let me hand it to you. Here you go. I remember I was manifesting a TV show and Lacey said, oh, I have a friend for you. And then I was having this conversation with this guy and I was like, oh my God, this is so great. We're going to do the TV show. This is so fun. And then he like fucking disappeared. New projects, new opportunities, they're going to fall apart. They're going to unravel. They're going to lose steam. They're going to self-destruct. This is the natural progression of things. Creation is destructive. Creating means transforming things. You're taking things from one form and you're rearranging it into a new form. That's what the creative manifesting process is. And that's a messy thing. And that's not easy. And life fights back and things don't work and you don't know how to do it right. So you learn, you gain clarity from every new wave. You learn and you gain clarity from every new conversation, whether it leads to something or not. And I hate to tell you this, but most of the conversations that you get excited about at first lead nowhere. You learn and you gain clarity from every attempt, every wave. You just get on the board and you try and ride it. But I want you to write down the power of the trough, because you got waves, you got these peaks, but you also have these troughs. And I will tell you, the troughs are golden. They're so important, but they are 100% where people stop their manifesting process. The peak and the trough are equally important. The peak is where you experience the high energy, the enthusiasm, the optimism, the excitement. And the trough is where you think nothing's happening and I suck and there's a lull in the momentum and why isn't it working? And there's no energy and what the hell? But the trough is just as important as the peak. But the trough is where everyone derails their manifestation because they start worrying and fretting and doubting and bitching and moaning and complaining. And then they start doing other things and they start getting off track. And then they're like, it's never going to work. And right? They basically give up. But when the waves stop, the surfer doesn't worry about that, right? When the waves stop, the surfer just sits there and they're just like enjoying the water, listening to the seagulls, just waiting for the next wave to come because they know another wave is going to come. They're enjoying the sunshine and the wind. Getting worried is like getting out of the water and sitting on the beach complaining and pouting. You're at the beach. Enjoy. When the waves stop, it doesn't mean that what you want has stopped coming. It just means that there's a lull in the energy of the project or the goal. And most people actually stop the manifestation at this point because they get doubtful, they get fearful, they get pissed off. They're feeling unworthy. And here's what I want you to propose, and I want you to write this down. Practice total and complete acceptance of every situation. And watch how that trough is reduced. Practice total and complete acceptance of every situation. If you want to reduce the downtime, the low, you accept it. If you want to increase your ability during the uptime, the wave, you practice accepting it. It puts you into a flow state. And you want to just embrace the many aspects of the manifesting process. I mean, for example, sitting on the beach, looking at the waves, trying to understand the process, that's part of the process. Paddling out through the waves, getting pummeled by the waves as you're like really trying to get yourself out there so you can be in a position to catch them, that's part of the process. Paddling for a wave and missing it, that's part of the process. Paddling for the wave, catching it, wiping it out, that's part of the process. Paddling back out, getting pummeled by the waves, smashing so you can get set up again, that's part of the process. Paddling out, catching a wave, oh my God, you're so bad. That's part of the process. And of course, spending all morning out there and catching nothing. That's part of the process too. Standing on the beach, realizing, damn, there's no waves today. Let's go back home and chill. That's part of the process. Just know that what you want is coming. Stop whining about it when it's not. Just chill. Just keep doing what you're doing. Give the gift. Even better, in the trough when there's no energy, like take more naps. Get massages, relax, go on vacation. Be in nature, do hobbies, play with your kids, chill out. Stay in your happy place. Because in this happy, balanced, positive expectation mindset that you can get into, you're going to be more sensitive to the waves coming. You're going to be like, oh, hold on, there's something happening here. The key is to use the trough to get your energy back. Use the trough to get your focus back, to clarify your dream and to enjoy. So let me just sort of rapid fire some stuff, and then I want to open up some to sharing and conversation. Recontextualize failure and mistakes as a critical part of the process. You have to wipe out. There is no accomplishment. There's just the experience. The surfer doesn't accomplish anything. They just have an amazing experience. That's it. Practice aligning yourself with the waves and feel the exhilaration. But don't expect continuous tsunami. That's crazy. You wouldn't even be able to handle it if it was continuously just going. Waves naturally come in sets, right? There's a few little ones, one big one, 3 medium ones, one giant one, and all these different combinations. Like, just ride them as they come. But make every wave count. You know what I mean? Like, really love and appreciate. When I was driving back from the camera shop and I had gotten the phone number and connected with the video guy, like, I just gave it my full attention, like really visualizing the next web show I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And oh, it's going to be so cool. And would this guy click with me? And does we have good, chemistry? And I'm just like riding it. I'm making the wave count. And I just want you to know, nothing. I have heard nothing from this guy. Practice making every wave count, because you never know which one's going to be the tsunami, by the way. And then be grateful for any wave that comes. Like, don't make the dinky waves wrong. The dinky waves are super awesome too. What you want is coming. So these baby waves, they're like great practice. They're getting you ready for the giant monster where you get the blood pumping. Kristen and I are doing some big monster waves right now. The heart is pumping. We're working like crazy. We're excited. We're energized. We have all kinds of things happening all at once. Too many to even handle. Too many ideas. Like, it's just like, ah! And we are just like, ba 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 ba. If you expect miraculous results day in and day out, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because it ain't going to happen. And when there are no waves, just rest, take naps, chill out, man. Regain your strength and your clarity. Most people kill off their results before it manifests because they start talking about how it's not manifesting, and they change their mind too soon. And I swear to God, all you have to do is just sit out there and wait. The waves are coming. Just keep giving the gift. What you want is coming. Chill out. It may take a day. It may take a month. It might even take 20 years. I started muscle testing in 1999, and I thought that this was the ultimate thing. I still do think it's the ultimate thing, actually. But here we are in 2023, and I'm just now feeling like, oh, I think I got what this is, and I know how I'm going to use it to transform the world. Like, just now, 1999 to 2023. Sometimes things take longer than you want. So I'm going to put the homework suggested homework, of course, into the chat here. And then I want to open up to sharing questions, concerns, comments, thoughts, anything. I love hearing from you. So here it is. Boom. So here's what I think you should do. One, would you mark your calendar for this weekend? Jamil and I are going to be talking about prosperity on purpose. And so this is a free live webinar for anyone interested in how peace leads to prosperity, because Jamil is really the prosperity guy. You know what I'm saying? But he does it through the peaceful process. Being one of my students, I'm really the peace guy. We're going to come together and show you how those things marry up. It's a free thing. That link that I put in there, I don't know, did it show up? Yeah. That link that I put in there is to our live YouTube. So I think you just click on it and then you can click the reminder button, but put it in your calendar and come join us. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Then number two, I want you to contemplate these questions with your buddy. If you have one, if not, just contemplate them by yourself. If there were no restrictions, how would you live? What would you do? Where would you go? If you could sell your house, your car, give up your job, and completely reinvent yourself top to bottom, who would you be? How would you spend your days? Number three, identify the waves that you have ridden in the past and make peace with the ups and downs of life. Identify the major wipeouts in your life. Ponder your responses to these events. What did you learn? You learned something. You may have resisted for a couple of years and bitched about it, but eventually you learned something. And then when you did, all of a sudden, new waves became possible. Give the gift to at least 10 people you don't know. Play the perfect game. Look for the strange and weird and unusual events. Say yes. Ride the waves, laugh and declare it perfect. Have a blast. Set a big goal for this week and then follow the process. Ride the waves and note what happens and what you experience. And then I would do my gems daily. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to come to you, help, support, questions, concerns, thoughts, comments. I'm going to put my desk down while somebody raises their hand and comes into the process.
I have something.
Lay it on me.
Hey Matthew, hi everyone. Man, that was so cool for me because I feel like ever since we started this, I've been going through a lot of internal and external things. I guess these waves, and I have the opportunity to go to Thailand with a friend. I'm leaving tomorrow actually to check out.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's so crazy. Everything's so last minute right now, but we have a market there, and sorry, I was walking off fast. And it's the thing is, like, I trust my friend, and I'm excited for this opportunity, and also just to be out there and travel. But at the same time, I think there's just been like some reservations. You know, we had like things go bad in the past between us, like with business, and also like you know, we're not like him and the other people we'll be partnering with and potentially working with out there. They're not really in alignment to me, like in my spirit. Like they don't do this type of work, and you know, they're very worldly people. You know, they're great at what they do.
World on, man. World along with them. And the thing is that nobody else needs to be on an enlightened path for you to do well in your life and get along with all kinds of different people. In fact, David, because you are on the enlightened path and you can practice total and complete acceptance of people, your ability to deal with a wide variety of people is increased because you bring, okay, I am holding them accountable to rules that don't exist. I'm going to let that go. The drunk monkey is trying to be arrogant and make sure that I'm right. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to honor people as they are and see them for the goodness in them and not spend time or waste time focusing on my fears and concerns because they don't operate the same as me. You have a huge opportunity to really be flexible in this process and flex the muscle of acceptance and adventure. Go for it, bro.
Yeah. I think thank you. I think the one more question I had is like, it's that feeling of reservation that I have, like, and I don't know if it's because I'm scared and that's the drunk monkey, or there's also this like I guess only I can tell at the end of
It's
the
a
day.
wave, dude. That's a wave. You're 24 hours away, right? From leaving.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
That's a
tomorrow.
wave, man. You're just like, oh, the butterflies and here we go. Like, oh shit, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if these guys are dicks. I don't know if this is going to be fun. I don't know what's going to happen. But here's what I want you to do. Play the perfect game, David. When things are suggested, go with it.
Okay.
When things are given, take it. Whatever happens, laugh, declare it perfect, roll with it, flow with it, and just see where the adventure takes you, my friend. You are living a charmed life. There is nothing for you to fear. Don't do stupid things, obviously, but we can trust you to not do stupid things because people who do these classes are not stupid people. The people who do these classes are people who are committed to bringing positive benefits to themselves and others. That kind of person goes through life and they turn lemons into lemonade constantly lemons into lemonade because life is serving up all kinds of wacky shit. Just ride the wave, dude.
Thank you.
Yep. And I guess next week we will talk to you at like, 8 a.m. in the morning or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I have no idea.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop. Good. Can't wait. Can't wait to get the report in on how you encountered all kinds of wacky, crazy shit and you just totally flowed with it and you laughed and you declared everything perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. And consider every day doing one of the 23 daily practices in the back of my book, like every day. And
Okay.
also consider listening every day to one of the hidden motive meditations, which you can find now on iTunes or Spotify or Prime or on YouTube, or they finally got released into the world. So listen to one of those every day and just kind of take a moment, get into a good spot.
I will. Okay.
Whoop. All right. Franco. Let's see here.
Sensei Fairy, thank you.
What's up? What's up?
Hey, next session's our last session, right?
That is it. Yeah, we are going to do number 8. I can't
my
wait.
Gosh, how do we continue with you? Is there some?
The answer is yes. And the answer is, I don't know yet. But the answer is
fuck the
Kristen and I are like, oh man, how do we make sure that we give everyone opportunity to keep staying in this really fun, cool conversation with us? The answer is we don't know just yet. There's Kristen undoing her video. We don't know just yet, but I want you to know we're thinking about it. We're dreaming it up. We're trying to figure it out. Stand by. I promise we're going to create something fun for all of us to do together where we can stay in this super intense, exciting manifestation flow mode. Okay.
Perfect. Beautiful. Good luck on your trip, David.
That's going to be so cool.
I will just remind everybody that we have an event coming up in June.
Yeah.
And that might be an awesome way to be a part of the tribe, to network and to connect. It's going to be in Lake Arrowhead here in Southern California on the 9th, 10th, and 11th. And if you go to MatthewFerry.com, there's a button and you can find all the details.
100% do that. What I find in those rooms, like do I need to put on seminars? No. Do I need to do these classes with you guys? No, actually, I don't. My life works based on what I already have going on. But what I find is these things are so fucking accelerating for me. Like every time I do something like this, my life just goes bananas. And so I'm going to do probably 3 events a year. And the way I think about them, Franco, is you look like you're old enough to remember Hot Wheel tracks. And Hot Wheel tracks, remember they had like those little engine things where it's like 2 spinning wheels and a thing, and you put them in, it's like shoot them all through that. Like coming to the Peace, Purpose, and Prosperity Retreat, for me, that's what it's like. It's like I want to fire myself off in June into the end of the year. I'm gonna do something again in September as well, and I think in December. But each one really, it's very, very selfish for that reason, to just launch me, like what we're experiencing now.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool. Okay, who wants to share? Who's been manifesting some cool stuff? Who played the perfect game and you had an experience? Who is giving the gift and you thought something was interesting? Who's riding some waves? Who's in a trough? Let's hear it. I want to let's go. Ali, you're up.
How's it going, everyone? How's it going, Matthew?
What's up?
So I had I received some news this past Friday, but the Friday prior, that my grandfather had passed away, and I had,
Ouch.
he lived a nice long life. He was 90 years old. As you know, I don't want to say, hope this doesn't come out, as whatever his age was, it wasn't really something that it was expected. So I obviously, I had business things that I had to put off, things of that sort. And I was just rolling with it, whatever it was. I just said, whatever escrows I have, whatever deals, or whatever, whoever calls me, it is what it is. If I answer, I answer. If I don't, I don't. And when I came back on Tuesday, just the amount of abundance of business that just came to me, and people calling me, and the things that I was putting together. And, as heavy of that energy it was going and being at a funeral, it was a celebration of his life. And at the same time, I believe, because I wasn't getting caught up in the waves of everything, and I was just riding them and flowing with it. I truly feel that that's where the abundance that, that came in during the week came from, for me, just rolling with it, being an allowance. So I just wanted to share that, because as we continue to go through these 8 steps,
Yeah.
when we hear certain things at certain times, and we go a year forward, we hear, it reflects differently, it hits us differently when we're in a different state of mind. So I just want to thank you for always reiterating just how simple it is.
You are welcome. And, it's simple in concept, but it's not simple in practice, because the mind is really convinced that you suck, and that you're not going to get what you want, and that it's hard, and you're going to have to push, and everybody else is getting what they want, and you're less than them, and you need to make sure to kick some ass and do some things now. Like, the mind really has some version of that, especially if you're a high conscious go-getter like yourself. Let's go over to, I don't even know how to say that name. Mance. How do I say that?
Mance Rider.
Mance. You say
Yeah.
it exactly how it's spelled. That's how you say it. Mance.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Whole life. I have a question. I'm doing my gems daily, and
Good.
I get a little confused when it comes to my manifestations part.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing like the same thing every day, and I don't know if that's right.
Boring.
Yeah, it's a little boring.
Boring. I go through waves in my gems. I'm currently in a non-gems phase. Instead, I'm in like a morning pages, like writing all my thoughts down phase.
Okay.
And sometimes what I find in my gems, as I'm sort of coming to that, the peak of energy around the gems is here, and now it's starting to slide off and go the other direction. That the trough of that wave is coming on my gems. What I like to do is I like to push myself to think about, like, well, what's one thing that I could manifest today that's really, really small, that if I manifested that thing, it would tell me, like, oh yeah, okay, I'm on track. I'm like, the thing that I want is coming. Like, I try to just go really, 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 really small, because a lot of times when I'm writing my gems, I'm like way out here in the future. And, it's like, how many times can I write down, like, I'm launching the Center for Rapid Enlightenment, man, and I want you to know I wrote it down like 40 fucking thousand times, and it got really boring. And really, it wasn't until I just stopped writing it all together, and I just started like dreaming about how I wanted my life to be. I just kind of switched it up a little bit. And then all of a sudden, it was summer of 2022. One of my clients called me and just said, you've been talking about this Center for Rapid Enlightenment thing for a long time. And I just want you to be ready at the end of the year. I'm cutting you a big check. So be ready to take it in. And I was like,
Cool.
the wave, holy shit. The waves have not stopped since then. I just want you to know.
Yeah. So I'm manifesting $100,000 a month, and I
Yes.
feel like I get bored writing 1 or 2 qualified appointments today. It
Yeah,
feels
because first of all, that's a lame ass way to have $100,000 a month like that. There could not be a more boring way to have $100,000 a month.
yeah.
I don't know about you. I would like someone to just give me $100,000. That's my preferred method of money is to just have people give it to me. But I would get out of the how.
Okay.
And then I would start playing around with different things that you could manifest. I would get off the $100,000 and I would start getting into, what do you think the $100,000 is going to do for you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to experience? And then start doing those things. There was a time in which Kristen and I were really broke, really, really, really broke. And yet we had this goal to be traveling. And so we would just figure out how to travel for the way we used to say it is high on the hog for cheap or free. That was our intention. We want to travel high on the hog for cheap or free. And we did a lot of, in fact, at one point I manifested a free timeshare.
Huh.
And then we turn, which by the way, if you just type in free timeshare on Craigslist, you'll find all kinds of people are giving away free timeshares. I didn't know that. And so I ended up getting a timeshare that had associated with it 93,000 RCI points every year. And RCI points are like a trading thing that you can do with timeshares. And we found like the swankiest, most bitchin' timeshare you could possibly go to. And we used to trade our points for it on a regular basis, but in these short windows. So like you only do them for, like if you do it within 6 weeks, instead of it costing you like 90,000 timeshare points, it only costs you like 15,000 timeshare points. And next thing you know, we were going to this place all the time by booking within 6 weeks. So I'm just like throwing out, be creative. Why do you want $100,000? Like, go do what you think the $100,000 will give you now. Start manifesting that crazy stuff.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thanks. That really helped out.
All right, rock and roll.
Can
Who's-
can
Yeah,
I
jump
share
in.
something?
Yeah, go for it.
This is Jason. I didn't raise my hand, but
Whatever.
yeah, I just wanted to share a couple miracles that have happened with me. And then I have something that happened over the weekend that I was really confused about, right? So I went to a party a couple weeks ago. I was looking for data, right? Some people to be calling. And then I happened to meet this guy that owns a data company at the party, right? So that was really cool. Another thing is,
Miracle alert, right? Miracle alert.
yeah. Eric Allegado reached out to me. I was looking for some help on the real estate side, and he reached out to me out of nowhere, right?
Miracle alert.
Yeah. Couple other things. Obviously I'm back in production again, and I got a listing sight unseen without seeing the property. Really, really good listing. I'm writing it up to double end it. I just wrote another offer for $800,000, and I just took another listing for 1.2 million. I
Welcome
just got
back to
in
production, Jason.
Yeah, just back into production, right? And so the thing is, this weekend, I was at a wedding, beautiful wedding for my nephew, my oldest nephew. And there was something I'm really, really conscious of my energy, right? Because I want to protect where I'm at, all these miracles happening and everything else. And I had somebody confront me at the wedding, like he wanted to get into a fight with me. And it was really, I was really taken back for no reason at all. I don't fight, right? Used to. don't
Alcohol?
anymore.
Was this a drunk person?
No, he was actually the bartender. And he was having, I mean, there was a lot of other people that were having issues with him throughout the night. And he just happened to go off on me for some reason. You know, he was just yelling, got in my face, and I was really thrown back. Like I just could not believe it. I was having the time of my life, really, really good positive attitude, tipping the dude like $5, $7, $10, like, and he just went off. And so I really thought, like, what did I do to attract that, right? Or did I do anything to attract that? And why did it happen? So
I don't know. I don't know if those questions will give you very positive recontextualizations. And really what I hear you saying is, I want to be responsible for the experience that I'm having.
Mhm.
That's one part. And I want to come to a conclusion that puts me back into an ease and flow state because I experienced essentially a trauma, right? That's
Yeah.
a trauma experience when somebody is confronting you with hostility and anger like that.
Yeah.
And so, and it can stick with you. So there's a couple things. One, I'm going to ask you to use these exact words every day, 2 or 3 times a day.
Okay.
One is disconnect,
Okay.
and 2 is dissolve interference. One is disconnect, and the other one is dissolve interference. So these are phrases that are known to be effective to disconnect you in some sort of traumatic experience with another person. Second thing that I'm going to ask, so do that, we just do that for the next week and just like disconnect, dissolve interference. Second
Okay.
thing, I want you to also just admit that the world is unpredictable
Yeah.
and that you're not actually responsible for the results and the outcomes of the world. You're responsible for who you're being and the way in which you contextualize what happens to you. That's the only thing you got.
Yeah.
So the world is violent and chaotic and disruptive and angry and hostile, and it's also loving and joyous and peaceful and playful and silly and great. It's
Mhm.
all over the map. And when we go into these kinds of traditional formats, right? A marriage is a very traditional survival-based format. You never know what you're going to get. When you come to the Peace, Purpose, and Prosperity Retreat, you're pretty sure you're going to get a bunch of peaceful people
Yeah.
chilling out, communing, supporting each other, and giving the gift to each other, right? You
Yeah.
go to a marriage, you're now activating lower chakras, testosterone, tribal, like just stuff, right? And that's just part of the reality of life. There are certain situations which are primal, getting married, and then there are other situations which are enlightened, going up into the mountains and meditating and communing with high conscious people, and
Right.
everywhere in between. None of those things are your fault and your responsibility. What you can do is respond, choose your response, which sometimes takes 2 or 3 days. Sometimes it takes a week, right? If you are a therapist, a therapist might see some people taking 30, 40, 50 years to create a new response to something. What we're committed to as a group is catching our responses fast and modifying them as fast as we possibly can to maintain our well-being, our joy, our peace, our flow. So first of all, how are you feeling now that we are using disconnect and dissolve interference, and then we're also making it not your fault that you were in a violent situation? Are you starting to feel a shift in your own energy? Where are you at?
Yeah, it's resonating with me for sure. Yeah.
So the last thing that I would like you to do is I would like you to, are you Apple Music or a Spotify or a YouTube, or what's your music service of choice?
I love YouTube. Yeah, YouTube.
YouTube. So go onto YouTube, type in Hidden Motive Meditations, and look for Release Hatred. Hatred gets stuck in our body. And then it resonates around and round and round, and it starts to taint and create a filter for what we're thinking and what we're seeing. So you have this traumatic experience and you're like, whoa, what the heck? And then part of your response of taking responsibility is a form of self-hatred.
Mm,
Who was I being to create that? That's self-hatred.
yeah.
Instead of like, that was an angry person, and I didn't try to trigger an angry person. They were angry.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to get that when you have hatred running in your system. It's called a hidden motive to survive. It's running in the background.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. And on the way home, we were like, let's get in the Uber, let's get home, whatever. And then the Uber driver was just like an angry dude too. So I was like, what the hell's going on here? But awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Can I piggyback on that, Matthew?
You bet, of course.
So Jason, it's so funny because I've been reaching out a little bit going, oh my God, what's happening? And I reached out a couple times to Matthew on here, trying to figure it out myself. And I was like, what? Like, I'm just so in the flow, wonderful, ridiculous things are happening. And then all of a sudden I get 2 super traumatic responses 2 days in a row. And it threw me, like, literally, I was like racking my brain. Can I just tell you the 2 things that literally, that disconnect is so important, because I listen to daily now, 10:10, and then I listen to All Is Well. And there's something about the music when Matthew, when you say, listen to my voice and we will blah, blah, blah. There's some kind of weird music in the background. I'm sure it's what you do. Like, it's
That's what you're
Oh
like,
my
I'm
God.
getting the best compliment ever right there.
It puts me in this, the vibe there is so incredible. It allows me to get back to flow. It modifies and gets me back to flow. So when things like that happen, which they don't usually happen because I'm pretty chill, but I don't rack my brain on it anymore. I just disconnect and I listen to those, and I swear they really do help. Thank you.
Regina, thank you. Really, really great. Kristen put the audio link back in there for you, Jason, to click on so you can remember the bonuses that you got with the course.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's for everybody. And all the audios that Regina just mentioned are right on that page to download.
Perfect.
The world is a combination of approximately 80% destructive and approximately 20% constructive. And there's something about that ratio, might even be 85%, 15, I can't remember, but there's something about that ratio of entropy and syntropy that creates balance and creates life. And so there's just going to be times in which we find ourselves in the flow of entropy. Things are degrading, things are negative, things are bad, things are destructive. And all there is to do is to like roll with it and wiggle your way back into that syntropic creative flow again. And there's little tricks that you can use to get there. Help, support, reporting, anything at all.
Hey, Matthew, this is Juan.
Juan.
Hey, thank you so much today for this conversation, because I think you hit pretty much every point that I was feeling since last week's call. And I'm developing resistance, internal resistance, on not being able to set my intentions on what I foresee. I think you know the nail on the head when you said, since this call, what I wanted or I thought I wanted is now all over the place. So I've been having difficulty because I've been blessed to live the life that I had set forth for myself, and I've been able to manifest it. But now I'm at a point as in what's next. And that's where my inner resistance has been coming from. It's what's next.
And can we make what's next your manifestation? In other
I never
words,
thought of that.
I just went through this with another client. I guided her through the process. The wave of energy of her last literally life-changing thing that she was involved in had crested and was on the downward slope. And she was going through the range of emotions and like sadness and anger and am I ever going to be able to be on a wave like that again? And all this stuff. And I just said, all we're going to do now is we're just going to go into the space of the unknown and we're going to manifest that the next thing pops up and you don't know what it is. And she's like, well, how am I going to figure it out? And I said, there's this crazy thing that you know about. It's called give the gift. Connect deeply with people. Seek to understand what's going on in their world. Make a difference for them if it's holistic, if it works for you. Don't make a difference for them if it's bad for you. That's called being helpless. Make a difference for them in a way that is good for you and good for them. And then don't worry about if they are going to contribute back, but they're always going to ask you about yourself. And at that time, you're going to go like, I'm in transition. Like I've had this thing that I've been really excited about for a long time. And now, it's kind of on autopilot and I don't know if I really want to spend a lot of time and I'm looking for what's next. And then people are naturally go, well, what are you curious about? Or what are you thinking about? And so she did this process and it took about 2.5, 3 months. But after 2.5, 3 months, all of a sudden she came out of that trough and started riding the next wave. And she is lit right now about the next thing that is coming in her life. Juan, just make the next idea, the next inspiration, your manifestation.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I've been kind of beating myself up because since we started this course, I've been doing the steps as we go, and I've been manifesting certain ideas in my head, and it takes revenue. And I work as a full-time teacher, and I do real estate part-time, but we do really well for ourselves with real estate. And since we've been able to accomplish these goals, it's been like, okay, what next? What next? What next? And that's where the resistance, but that makes a lot of sense, making the next thing my next manifestation. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And come join Jamil and I at noon on Saturday. And maybe there's something that Jamil will say that will spark what's next for you. He's a really inspiring, creative, interesting individual who's doing a lot of cool things. And, just gems fall out of his mouth all the time. So come hang out with us on YouTube Live on Saturday and make that a part of your process too. Let's see if we can spark some inspiration.
Okay, quick question. Would you guys be sending out the link through email? Because I know it was on the chat, but once the session is over.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And hey, Kristen, maybe we can put it into the group me as well for everybody.
Sure thing.
The group me. Okay, sweet. All right, my friends. Well, listen, it's 6:24. I think I'm going to go have some dinner. I got to actually see if I can harvest Kristen out of the new office. I think she's been there since 6 a.m. this morning. So I'm going to go do my life. If you need anything from us, reach out. We're here for you. Happy to support. And we're thinking about what's next. Okay. I promise you, we're thinking about what's next. Talk to y'all soon. Have a good one,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.